Hello and welcome to the Bob Young channel. Now I'm going to attempt to make this one. It's a Kwik Sew 2589. Well, actually this is like 3 different things in there. We go on line drawings. So you got like a shorts, you got like a camisole top and a chemise. And I thought I'd have a go at doing something like this because 1, it's draping materials, and 2, there's, I don't know, is it bias taping and maybe some stretchy stuff, and it's things that I hadn't really done before. Or at least shall I say, I'm doing something that's inspired by this pattern because, well, let me explain. A long time ago, probably about a year now, I did actually decide to have a go at this pattern. Thought, it can't be that hard, okay, it's a lot of things I haven't done before. Slinky materials, maybe some stretchy stuff in there, I don't know, bias taping, don't know, at least that's what I was thinking. But then when I got the pattern out and had a look at it and found some gash material, well, let's just say my attempts weren't brilliant. So first of all, I had this material. Now it sort of came out okay, but it wasn't brilliant. It's got this curvature on the side, and I think it is meant to be quite draping material you should use, but you've got this like facing piece that sits in there. And my thought was, well, how are you meant to finish that off? You can't just, unless you've got an overlocker, then that's really hard to finish off. And it doesn't say anything about top stitching that, so it holds it in place, or under stitching, or if it does, I didn't do it. But it was like, okay, yeah, but no, because it just doesn't really work, and it was a pain in the backside to make because this is really slinky sort of polyester of some sort, so didn't go very well. So I sort of put it to one side and didn't touch it for a while, and then I came back to it and thought, well, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll amend the pattern so it's a bit more like what I want to do. And in amending the pattern, effectively I took out the need for these facing pieces by deciding to do it with fold over bias tape. And well, knowing that it wasn't going to be drapey or stretchy, I ended up using some, well, really the wrong material. It's just a basic cotton, and it doesn't have any stretch, and this is what I ended up with. Everything seems to be stitched in the wrong place. Fold over bias tape, thick stuff, well, it doesn't. If you're doing a straight edge, I think it's fine, but if you've got to come through like to form a strap, it doesn't really work. Yes, okay, you've got the shaping again on the bottom. I used thin bias tape, and this is where I learnt something. This thick bias tape, even though it looks nice, is a real bugger to work with. But the thinner bias tape actually comes out better, it sits better. I just find it's a bit nicer to work with. So that was my second attempt at this, and I thought, well, okay, but it's rather baggy, there's the shapings all over the place. I think it's because it's meant to be for a really drapey material, which would just drape off, you know, and have nice folds and that, whereas cotton just doesn't drape. So that one was a big learning experience, and yeah, to move on. I changed the way that the shape of the actual pattern was. So not only have I decided to go with fold over bias tape, I've done some alterations, and next up was effectively this. Yes, it's in black, it's going to be hard to see. So instead of having the point where you've got the straps coming off, now it just comes to a point, because if I'm using fold over bias tape, then you put a piece on the neckline, and then the part that goes all the way around the back and forms the straps will come up and then form the straps, like they do on quite a lot of camisole tops of that type. And I've straightened the edge out, the bottom hem, so it's just a straight hem on the bottom. But that means I had to change the shape on the side slightly. Now there is a detail on this top where there's a bit of ruching going on. I don't know if you can see that. Along there. Don't know, but anyway, that is meant to be on there. That is part of the design. So anyway, that one I sort of cut out, and it's like, well, there's no stretch in this. I'm not going to be able to, even having a go, it was like, it's a bit tight. It's not going to be able to go on very well. So scaled up the size a little bit, and what I ended up with is this. And now actually this does work as a camisole top. You know, it's got a straight edge again. I've done the edges with fold over bias tape, some black, some thin stuff, and again thin bias tape here, which means that the straps work. You know, they actually are functional. I put in the clasp, a bit like, you know, bra strap adjustment types you get on there, which you do get on camisole tops, and yeah, it works. It does what it's meant to. Again, a little snug, which means that it's not so easy to get on and off, but it is wearable. Trouble is, it's cotton again, which made me think that really I was just using the wrong material. Now, that was a little while ago, and I just put the thing to one side because it's like, well, I'll have a think about that. And now, deciding to come back to it, I've had a look and realised I've got a bit of stretchy material that might work for it. Now, I've got this stuff, and I'm not sure what it's called. Is it? No, it doesn't say, but I think this is a knit, and it is this one, this pattern, which is really quite nice. I have used this, or had a go at using this for something else. It's got a bit of stretch in it, so I think actually this will work just fine with some red fold over bias tape, bit of stretch on the original size that I'd done in for this black one, using this size pattern but in a stretchy material. I think it should work. So enough jabbering and talking about it, better get on with it and see if I can make this actually work. So first up, cut the pattern out. There's only 2 pieces, so it shouldn't take me long. Well, there you go, front and back cut out, and just marked up the notches, the matching points. And this one is slightly taller because I've got to ruche that in a little bit. It only gathers up a little bit, but it does have that little bit of gathering in there that I've got to put in, and that'll be the first task. And then once I've gathered that bit up, stitch the front and back together, which will sound like quite an easy, as if I've almost done it, but no, I will not have done it because it has all that bias tape to do. Well, I've stitched up the sides and I thought I'd give it a try on just to see how it is. Now, it seems alright, because there's stretch in it, it goes over quite easy, and seems to be sort of the right length. The back seems alright, I've not got too baggy in the back there. I think the one place I have noticed is here. There seems to be a lot of room here. Even though I've got this bit of sort of ruching up here on the sides, it is still very roomy there. I suppose it is designed for someone with more shape than what I've got. So, but yeah, it seems alright. I'm quite happy with it the way it is. All I could do now is put the, I've got wearing a camisole top underneath it just to hold it in place, because no, there's no straps on it yet. So that's what I'm going to do next. Put these straps on, all round, and I'm going to use this fold over, that's this bias tape stuff. This doesn't have any natural stretch to it. Well, I should say it does have natural stretch to it in that it's cut on the bias, but it's not a stretch bias in any way. And I've also got a choice to make, because my thoughts were I could use a different bias tape on the bottom than what I do on the top. Now, I've got this big, huge reel of satiny sort of bias tape, and it's quite a wide one. It's in comparison to this, you can see it's quite wide, but I'm of the opinion that this narrow bias tape, which will get folded in half because that's the full width of it, so you only see half of this on the outside, is much easier to sew than this much wider bias tape. But because the bottom of this is just straight round, I'm thinking that I can get away with using this thicker one on the bottom, and where I need to get the shaping because of the arms and over the shoulder, I can use this thinner one. So that's what I'm going to have a try at. So I'm going to start off by putting this thicker one onto the bottom hem. Well, I've managed to get some of the bias taping on. I've done the bottom hem, which is what I intend to do first because it's the easiest one, and I've used the thicker bias tape for that. It's got sort of like a satin sheen to it. Seems to have gone on all right. This is part of the reason for doing this is because, well, one, have a go at that pattern, which I'm actually not really doing that pattern because I've changed it to the extent that it's not that pattern anymore. It's whatever I've made it, really. But now I need to get the bias tape on the top here, which is going to be in two parts. I'm going to do this neckline across the front in one piece, and then the rest of it, which is going to be from over the shoulder, round the back, up the other side and up over the other shoulder, and then tack it onto the back piece. It's going to be all one. So that's going to be quite interesting, because I have found that this bias tape, that I'm not very good at sewing it on the machine. So the initial part, when you tack it on first of all, I'm actually going to sew that on by hand, which will take me quite a while, I imagine, to put that on, this big long piece. And then when I fold it over, then I'll put it on the sewing machine, because I know it's not going to move about anywhere, because then it'll be in the position that I want it to be. So yeah, better get on with it, because this is going to take me forever. Well, I finally managed to get the bias tape on, and these long parts of it, which are going to form the shoulder straps, and these little bits are what are needed to attach it onto the back, using these little clip things, you know, like the basically, you know, I can't, if you can see I'll get the black ones out, you'll see them better, but I'm going to use the clear ones, those things. Well, I finally managed to get this little top finished, and actually, yeah, I quite like it. It's been quite a journey, taken much longer than I expected, but it has turned out all right. It's in this slight stretch. It's not got a lot of stretch to it, so which means that it is a little snugger than the original design, but I'm quite happy with that because I can get it on and off, just, but it does come on and off because of that bit of stretch in there. And even though I think there's a bit of ease in there, then actually I need that bit of ease in there really. Original design doesn't have any bias tape on it, so in some ways actually this is no resemblance to the original pattern whatsoever, which is the Kwik Sew 2589, which calls for completely different materials, completely different techniques, and actually completely different patterns. So really I can quite safely say that this is not the Kwik Sew 2589, but my version of a camisole that is inspired by the 2589 pattern. That's about as close as I can get to saying I've made this pattern. So I think at some point I will actually have a go at doing that pattern properly once I get some material that will work better for it. And also, in a little sort of happy quirk at the end there, I decided to make a decision to change the way the straps went on the back there, so now they cross over. As you can see, that wasn't a happy accident at all. But the less said about that, the better, I think. Anyway, it is done. It fits. I like it. I've learnt loads. Again, this bias binding tape stuff is something I've struggled with on another couple of projects. So a lot more learning experience on doing that. I feel a lot more confident about using it, but it's still, I still need to do a lot more work with getting used to using it. But anyway, there you go. Camisole top done with crossover straps. Well, supposedly that's the way I wanted it. Anyway, thank you for watching my video. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.